Okay, so I wasn't planning on making this. Well, I hope you're okay. Hi, how are you? What's up? I hope you're okay. I hope everything is cool, great, and dandy for you, and you're having a good morning, night, evening, afternoon, whenever you stumble across this video and watch it. I already read the first chapter, let's just get that over with, because I wasn't planning on making this video, or else I would have made an intro and then started reading it and then updated along the way until I finished it and did a wrap up. But I already read the first chapter and I was just like, this is so good. It's not smutty in the first chapter, don't get your hopes up. It just reminded me so much of Lore Olympus, and Lore Olympus is a comic that I absolutely love. If you don't know Lore Olympus and you're not interested in comics, go check out Lore Olympus and you'll be interested in comics, I promise you. So Lore Olympus is about Hades and Persephone, and this is about Hades and Persephone, and I love Hades and Persephone. If you don't know Lore Olympus, what is you doing? Seriously, go read Lore Olympus. It's like one of the best comics that I've ever read. It's so good. It's so good and so worth it. First chapter in this is not smutty, as I said, but it's really good, and I already have a few notes about the first chapter. The first thing is that I love that it's a dual POV. It's not just, it's a first person POV, and I love first person POV. That's like my favorite POV. And we start with Persephone, and then I was just like, I wonder if this is just a first person POV from one POV. And then I skipped a little. I didn't skip reading, I just skipped a few pages just to make sure. And I saw Hades and I was just like, oh my god, we're gonna get a dual POV. And I love dual POVs. I cannot explain how much I love books with dual POVs, because we get to see and know what the partner is thinking, especially from a romance book. And if it's smutty, then holy shit, this is not my favorite thing ever. I'm such creep, but I want to be in your head when you're doing the deed. I don't care. That I noticed is that I love the modernization. I felt iffy at first with the modernization, but I grew to like it because we have a lot of historical retellings. We have a lot of fantasy booksies with no modernization. It's just the way it was, or the way we think it was. But with this one, I was reading and then someone was just like, I pulled my phone up. Bitch, what do you mean you pulled your phone up? And then it's so modernized, and I love that so much, actually. I really liked it. It made it feel more relatable and sort of real, because if they still exist, that's how it would have been. So I'm just gonna pop off and read a few more chapters, and I'll sit down and update you when I get to a point worth updating, and you know which points I'm talking about. I am such a goddamn slut for books. Literally, I read one chapter and I cannot wait to talk about it. Okay, an update, because I had to do an update. I just reached the 9th chapter, so I am on chapter 10, and we did it. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a playroom, we have a safe word, we have all of it. We have the entire package. But no, all in all, it's like that. The only con so far is that it's a little tiny bit immature, but I can't judge that. So fast, because we still have a lot to go through, and I am not planning on taking any breaks, to be honest. It's fast-paced, it's creatively written in a way that allows you to move through the story smoothly without feeling like every chapter you need to take a break. The chapters aren't that long, and again, it's fast-paced. So far, basically, Persephone escapes from the upper city, and she escapes to the underworld unknowingly, and accidentally she crosses the river Styx and gets into Hades's territoire, I should say, and they have a bargain. They agree on making a bargain, and yeah, it's one of those bargains. And yeah, so far that's the entire plot story. And the one thing that I also like about it is that it's an actual plot. It's not just smutty to be smutty, it's an actual plot. But it sort of feels like this much so far. It's not really there to serve the plot, but the plot is there to serve the smut, which is something that I don't really like. For fuck's sake, I can just go on and, you know what, never mind. But I hope it doesn't feel like that when I proceed. This is not even half of the book, so I can't really judge. It's just a primary update, but it's looking good so far. I just finished Young Gods, and there's so much to talk about. This was sort of a roller coaster, and I thought Kingdom of the Cursed and Kingdom of the Wicked was a roller coaster, but this just exceeded my expectations when it comes to roller coasters in books. I'm a huge annotator. I never write on my books. I never really used these fun thingies, and I've been tabbing more and more, and it's just getting ridiculous at this time. So there was ups and there was downs and there was a lot in between. So the first note that I took was a great way to develop Persephone and have her find her place, which is something I've noticed throughout the book. When we start with the beginning of the book, we meet Persephone, we meet her mom, we meet the 13, which are, you know, Zeus, Hades, Demetri, Aphrodite, Apollo, blah, 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 Ares, and all of the 13 Olympian gods. And we meet all of them, and we don't meet all of them. I would have loved to meet all of them, which is another note that I took. I would have loved to meet more of them. We meet Hermes, and Hermes was amazing. And contrary to every other Hermes that I've ever seen, it wasn't a nice looking white dude. In this book, actually, she was a black woman, which is amazing. I love that so much, because every time we see Hermes, whether in comics, whether in any type of manga, whether in any type of books, whether in any fan fiction, whether in anything, it's a pretty white dude. Same with Apollo, same with Ares. And this is like the few times that I saw Hermes as a woman, let alone not just a woman, but a black woman with an amazing personality. And it wasn't just like, oh, there you go, a black woman, there's a token for you. No, it was actually a great personality and a great character, and the banter that we have with Hermes was amazing, and I loved that. The diversity, it was diverse when it comes to different genders and different sexualities, and it was diverse in that sense, which is something that I loved. We love being relatable, we love seeing ourselves in there, and it's something that I didn't expect, and I loved it a lot. It wasn't diverse in depth, unfortunately, which I would have loved for it to be like in depth when it comes to sexuality or genders, but we still had like some background things here and there, which is good nonetheless. I loved the development of Persephone. I loved that when we start, she is this character, and I loved by the end of the book, we see a lot of development when it comes to her, and we see that the things that are happening, her being forcibly engaged and running away and going in the underworld, and how that affects her. And we see that it's not just like all of this happened and I'm the same person. And the development was done in a really good way. I thought the pace of the book was realistic, which is something that is rare to say about so many books, unfortunately. You either have enemies to lovers or friends to lovers, and it's 50 pages and they're in love, which is what the fuck. Or you have like a first love at first glance type of bullshit, which I don't like it. And this was paced realistically. By the time the fake dating happened, by the time the emotions started to, you know, develop, it was all in a really realistic type of way, in my opinion. The smut in the book. I know everyone and their mama picked up this book because of the goddamn smut, and the smut was immaculate. However, it was a bit weird. Not in what happens, no. It just was weird with the pacing. It's like out of nowhere smut. It kind of felt like that in a way. It didn't feel natural. That's what I'm looking for. It didn't feel natural. It just felt like a book, smut. I don't know if that makes sense, but the writing, I like the writing a lot. It's not some poetic fucking Madeline Miller or goddamn Robert Frost kind of fucking writing, but it was smooth, which is what I loved about it. I did not feel like I am reading choppy shit, which is something that happens a lot, unfortunately. I felt like I am reading a smooth story, and I like that. And that's something that I've discovered is hard to do, and I really, really like that in this book. It felt smooth, if that makes any fucking sense at all. The next point is sort of a con, I think, but in my opinion, I thought that it could have been better if I went into it just as like a contemporary romance or a mafia smutty romance type of thing, because the whole Hades x Persephone thing, I love Hades and Persephone with all of my heart, but the whole Hades and Persephone thing felt not forced, but just there, like in the background, and none of this is going to make sense. But I've talked at the beginning of the video before about Olympus, and how Lore Olympus is one of my favorite comics, how it's really good and fun to read and stuff like that. And with Lore Olympus, you get the contemporary aspect with the god and goddesses aspect still there, still intact. This is a contemporary, you feel when you read Lore Olympus that, yeah, this is a contemporary stuff, indicator that these are gods. But with this one, it wasn't like that. It just felt like a contemporary mafia romance, like a fake dating scenario with a mafia romance contemporary thingy, but Hades and Persephone in the background. It didn't go together, in my opinion. The whole aspect of Hades and Persephone, it's like, it's so marginalized, is that the word? I really don't know if that's even the correct word, but it feels like it's so famous, it's so wanted. I don't know what the word is, that like people look for it. And for example, for me even, it worked for me. When I saw that this is a Hades and Persephone retelling thingy, I went into it just because it was a Hades and Persephone thing, because I love Hades and Persephone. But I feel like it was a thing that was done just to market the book better. My English just flew out the fucking window. I also thought that it was fun. Oh, ew. I thought that it was fun. I thought that it was really, really fun to read, which is something that is lacking in books, unfortunately. Like, you have this amazing story and an amazing writing style, but then you read it and it's boring and you don't know what the hell is going on. I loved following them. I loved following the characters. I loved knowing what's going to happen next, especially like this part, like the end. It elevated it for me. It was banging on like 3.5 stars, and then I reached the last pages, the last like 40 pages or something, and it went up to 4 stars, and I ended up rating it 4 stars. But you can read it if you want to get into the book, if you want to pick it up, but you don't want to commit, you can absolutely read this as a standalone. It leaves you wanting more without leaving you in a cliffhanger. It absolutely can be read as a step. I wouldn't be as disappointed as I am, or as I was reading it, if it wasn't marketed as a Hades and Persephone. I think that specific marketing elevated the expectations of the book, and then reading it, it just goes down. And if it wasn't marketed as a Hades and Persephone book, and you went into it thinking this is just a smutty contemporary mafia thing, then you would hold the expectations, or you would even go higher with it. You would even exceed your expectations, in my opinion. But the entire marketing it as a Hades and Persephone just like disappointed me a little tiny teeny bit. I also thought that at times it was a little bit cringy. I don't know how to explain that, but I thought that just at small tiny teeny times I was just like, this is a little bit fucking cringy. What are we doing? You know, just like tiny bit, but that's all. It wasn't like I couldn't read it because it was too fucking cringy. It's just like a little like scenes here and there made me think that it was good. There was also so many good messages, which is why I annotated it a lot, and I took a lot of notes inside. We're into the story, but you can take them and put them anywhere else. For example, this, you can have like, this is a smutty scene, the one that I'm gonna read from now, a very smutty scene, but it's chapter 21, and it's a smutty chapter, but I annotated this quote which says, "My heart feels bloody and raw, and that should scare me, but it's somehow cathartic." And my note said, "The comfort of being hurt, of being bruised, the sickly need of being sick, and how cathartic and safe and comforted it feels knowing the pain is finally visible." And I love that about the book. And it has these all over it. It has these quotes all over it. And I really loved that from the author. I loved how we get these in-depth things while they're clapping cheeks. I really, really like that. I don't know. It's just like, I really liked it. Like, you're focusing with the clapping of the cheeks, and then you have this in-depth quote that just, I really like that. Thank you so much for watching, for being here, for liking, disliking, subscribing, unsubscribing. Fuck you, I'm seeing you. And for interacting with me in any way, shape, or form. Everything makes me really, 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 really happy. So thank you for that. And I'll see you next video. Bye.